The sentiment for your overall well-being. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Healing into Femininity. It's me, Joanna, your host, and today I want to talk to you about why decentering men is good for your mental health. So I want to start with a story time, and I have been a very free spirit like all of my life, and I'm very happy and proud of that because now, like with 35, I feel like I've really lived life. Of course, there's so much more things waiting for me, and I'm still living my life, but I have a lot to share. And one thing I want to share is that men also in spiritual spaces. Okay, so I have, I kind of grew up in church, but I wasn't forced. I didn't have to do it. I wanted it for the fun, for the social, like people watching, being part of the culture, just knowing what's up, and like literally really observing what's going on and learning more about God. I also believe that women in general are innately more spiritual that because I believe that we are spirit, like the woman really feels her spirituality if she is connected to her essence. But so I wanted to learn more about God, this so-called thing, in Christian church, but it was free. I think I told the story before that when I decided, like it was a free choice. I decided to get baptized because my mom didn't baptize me. My mom actually, I believe like now as I'm really teaching more and more, my mom is a witch. My mom is a witch. She's a free woman, and she actually raised me to be a sovereign, free thinking, confident young woman who could do whatever she wanted. That's how my mom raised me, or she allowed me to be that woman. And I used that. When I was 13, I decided to get baptized, and I wore like 6-inch heels when I was 13 getting baptized. So I think like I'm really set up for this sacred, divine feminine, sacred whore kind of, yeah, mission. I also believe that a woman like me, or women in general, like all of the women in the real women empowerment spaces, that it's our duty. Like we made those experiences for ourselves. And I believe once you know the truth as a woman, it's your duty to just enlighten other women. So I want to share a little bit about the I call it the opposite side. I have kind of felt like the more I knew about being like this other woman, I don't know how to best explain it, but I've been conscious about being the other woman because I'm not married, I don't have kids, I'm a free spirit, I am more of the bad girl, and I just do what I want. I'm a businesswoman and I am free. So I have had the experience of men coming into my life, married men. So I want to tell this story, not to just fly over it, but I think I'm just going to share three stories just to make it a little bit more story time. So I had this one friend. I actually also I'm starting to really doubt and also kind of get rid of the whole notion of men and women can be friends. Actually, I think I don't believe that anymore. Um, so I had this friend. He was actually a friend of my abusive ex-boyfriend way back when I was 16, 17, 18. Like he was kind of like my first boyfriend. No, he wasn't my first boyfriend. He was actually my second. But he like, that was a toxic relationship. Like it was so toxic. He lied from the very beginning. Then he kind of love bombed me. Then it was kind of like the movie where he took me shopping and I could just buy all the clothes and be fully like equipped. Then he was jealous again. Then he actually hit me. Yeah, I'm not embarrassed. I think most of the pretty women who are wise now, they probably had some kind of toxic relationship before. So that happened. And this guy that I'm about to talk about, like he was a friend of my ex-boyfriend, but I found it out way later. So one time I traveled to the UK for the wedding of a friend of mine, and then I hung out with some guys, like with this other friend I had, and then we hung out, like I was the only girl and I hung out with the boys and we went out, and then it kind of came out that this guy was friends with my ex-boyfriend, that they lived together at the time where we were together, something like that. And we became friends. So again, I don't believe in that anymore. We became friends. We stayed in contact for probably 10 years or so. And then at one point he came to visit me, even though he had a girlfriend. I knew it, like he had a girlfriend way back. And he came to visit me when I was working in this hotel. I used to work in this hotel, um, like parallel while I was doing my nutritionist training. And I worked in this it was like a retreat hotel in the east of Germany. It was beautiful. And he came to visit me and like he kind of like he showed interest, of course. Okay. So then afterwards, when I came back to my hometown and I started just getting back into normal life, I met my back then fiance and we came together. And then this other guy, like the friend, he he was like then he was jealous. He was jealous. He was like, "What? Now you have a boyfriend? Like how?" And I was like, "Huh? You had a girlfriend all along, and I know that you never intended to split up with her. Like you wanted, like he actually married her, and until today they are married." So he kind of got jealous, even though he had a girlfriend. And I know exactly, and this is for my ladies, and I'm saying that with all the respect or all the like really coming from a good place, that this woman, like his wife, she was like the archetypal good girl indoctrinated by Christian society. So she was a virgin, which I think is nothing wrong about that. I actually promote it, like she was a virgin, but then she married. And yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Like she married him while me as the free good girl, I knew, like, and this is my experience. A lot of men have told me their secrets. I don't know why, but that's just who I am. People just tell me their secrets. People just tell me their secrets, their fantasies. I mean, that's what I do as a life coach. I help people to actually work through those things. But just in general, all through my life, people always tell me their secrets. So he told me that he was porn, like he was a porn addict. Yeah, and I know that a lot of women today speak about that, that many men, like that's what they do. Like they're porn addicts, they are not really doing anything with their lives. And I can attest to that. So he was like pretending to be this Christian guy. I think he's actually the child of a pastor or something like that. Then the whole culture setup was that he was about to marry this girl. And then later on, they married. They had this big, fancy Ghanaian wedding. How we see that on YouTube or on social media, everybody wants to stunt. And they had this kind of marriage. And that's why I also don't believe in the show. Like I'm someone, like I live in the dark. Yeah, I see the things through a different lens and not the cultural play. Because like I have men coming to me talking about like I'm a porn addict. Actually, I want to fuck you. Like I want to be with you. But for the show, for the outside show, for society and all of that, I'm going to marry that girl. So I knew that he was a porn addict. Then he married while he was jealous of me having a boyfriend now. And then we didn't we broke up, like we kind of broke up the contact because I was like, okay, how come he's like jealous, you know? So then I don't know, years later, he contacted me again. And then we met again, and he was like he came back to my city and around my city for work. So we met up a few times and then again, and this is also where I had to learn. So then again, later on, he said, "Yeah, I feel so comfortable around you because like you're a businesswoman, you're doing your own thing." And I will never do that again. So I let him into my home. And like then he complimented me on my home and how clean it is and that he liked me and blah 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 blah. And then later on he also tried to pursue me while he was like, and now fast forward, back then they were like newlyweds. Now like fast forward, he has like two kids with this woman. And and then he, and then I was like, huh? No. Like, actually, also not only out of solidarity for this other woman, but also like, huh? Like, I am not definitely not gonna be the side chick who doesn't get anything. First of all, you get the stigma, you're like you're the bad one, and you lose. Like, it's a bad social rank being the side chick. You're not giving me any money, like, and no, like you don't respect me. So I broke off the contact again, and yeah, just kind of kicked him out. So that's one story, just one story, like guys pretending to be a friend and then still want to hit. And when the marriage goes sour or whenever, and this is also another thing, so that's the next story, but it goes hand in hand. I have this other friend. I actually met him yesterday. He's kind of like a neighbor. So he, like, I know him, like we've been friends before. And then he like found a woman and now they are together, and she was pregnant and now they have a baby. And now he decided to become an entrepreneur. So now life is getting tougher. And this is how I see it. Like he's no longer able to carry her. Like he wasn't aware of the responsibility that comes with being a man and a father. And he just wanted to have a child. Since I knew him, I knew that he wanted to have a child, but he never knew what the responsibilities are. So now he's kind of facing the responsibilities. And I don't know what's going on in their home, but again, I am the one listening to him and his story that he's telling himself, while I'm also getting the good treatment. That's also something. Since I'm not the girlfriend or anything, like, and with him there's nothing going. I most of the time I receive a good treatment. So they take me out, like they pay for my food. We do some kind of an adventure. So for me it's always fun. Yeah. And then for me it's also kind of like a study. So I study them, I listen to them because they tell me their secrets. So this other friend now, like he told me that he's probably gonna leave his woman. Like that's actually what he was trying to communicate, that he will probably leave her because she doesn't have like this entrepreneurial mindset. And because he's like, I want, what is it called in English? In German we say Gleichberechtigung, like 50-50. Basically that's it. Like he say, like, I want the 50-50 thing. I want a woman who can also do on her own. And then again, and this is also something that EU, shout out to her, and also says that most of the time, like, men always like are in the digital space or whatever, say that they want a submissive wife and they want like the sweet girl and blah blah blah. But in real life I have heard a lot of men say, I like you because you're so independent. Yeah, because you can't carry me. You can't carry me, you can't do nothing for me, and I don't need anything from you. And that's why you like me, because you are not a man enough. Like, you haven't built yourself up, as Shira 7 also says, or the whole conversation goes, that a man who hasn't built himself up to be the man, especially financially, that he wants to be, he's going to use everything that comes in his way to build himself up. So he's just going to have that child with this girl. Now he's facing the responsibilities, can't carry them. Probably the woman is complaining, yeah, because like she wants something, and he's not able to fulfill it, so he's frustrated, and now he's thinking to leave her because he's like, yeah, I'm ready, like, and then he's like talking that he's ready for success and blah blah blah, but things are not really like, where's the money, so you don't have to leave your wife before you are actually having something going for yourself. But that's also what I want to share, is that men always tell me their secrets, and they tell me the things that they want. And most men, really, they are not ready to carry anybody. Uh-huh. To carry anybody, to support a woman, to worship a woman, to actually see what a woman does. Like, this woman carries your child, like she's taking care of your child, and you're frustrated because she has demands. Yo, this shows me again that men don't value the feminine. I'm not here. This is not going to be a channel only talking about the negative. No. But I have been in my own bubble, and my bubble is literally the level up bubble. My level up bubble, I told you before, like I have invested a lot of money into myself, into spiritual initiation, and just learning about life. And I'm keeping this space sacred. I have fallen down a few times, but like that's my lifestyle for years now. So I like to get entertained every now and then. So I need to get my bullshit as well. So that's it. So I see men how they struggle, like how they struggle. Then there's another story. There's actually another friend, and now I'm going to tell another story after that because it's also about the spiritual guys for me. As I said, the first guy, he was the pastor's child, and he married this like holy virgin Christian woman. This is also for me this is a this is proof that really most men, especially men who are kind of trapped in a cultural setting, whether it be like with this guy, like the Ghanaian Christian community, or also with Muslims. I've had some Muslims as well, like Muslim friends or guys who try to hit on me. Um, that when they are in their circle, in their society, they definitely have the virtuous woman, but they always want the whore as well, and they can't combine it. And that's like the Madonna whore complex, that men are kind of unable to see both in a woman, like that she is a good mother, that she's holy, let's call it that, holy, wholesome, and at the same time that she can be a freak, or that she has sexual desires, dirty desires, whatever. So they kind of have the woman at home, the nice, virtuous woman at home, but then they go after me. And so, yeah, I don't actually would call myself the whore, but the way I look or the way I present myself, yeah, I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. And this also shows me, and this is I think that's a kind of a secret knowledge of the pretty women. This is also what Sadia psychology talks about, that pretty women have a different insight into men's psychology because they see how reckless men behave with with good women, or no, with pretty women, with the bad women, so called, quote unquote. Okay, but let me continue with this other guy story. So this other friend, he has been like a friend of mine also for years, and then he's also a spiritual, and like he first, like he kind of comes from Christianity, and I can see how he hates himself. Like when I look at him and how he understands spirituality, it's really like the medieval times or something like that, where people kind of like hurt themselves. Like I don't know how it's called in English, but where you like take the whip and you hit yourself because you have your internalized punishment, because God thinks you're a sinner and you're punishing yourself because you're so bad, and that's kind of your spirituality. So that's how I see how he kind of practices spirituality. He always puts himself down, and kind of feel, oh God, in the past years, like he really was, like he was getting lowlier and lowlier. And he also tried to exploit women. Like that's what I see, especially with spiritual men or all kinds of men. It actually really doesn't matter, but also with the men at the bottom, like really at the bottom. And this guy that I'm talking about, the first two guys, the one I talked about was Ghanaian, the other one is Dominican, and the other one I'm talking about now here is white. So it's really all across the board. So this guy, he then kind of got into Tantra. Like he is a yoga teacher as well, and he's also exploring like different spiritual practices. And then he kind of got into Tantra, and now he calls himself a massage therapist, but he's not really. And also like using that to get close to women. Like, I can give you a massage. Ew. Like, no, please don't touch me. Yeah. So this is like, that's where I had to come to. And he was always so sleazy and so, ugh, like just trying to use his so-called service or spiritual service in to touch women and to like to get his own desires fulfilled, literally. So this is also, and now I'm going to tell you another story which is also very common. I have been in the like in women's spaces for quite a few years, and I heard that topic once, that it was a whole retreat, or it was a whole summit centered around only women, and also then women sharing these stories, and I can totally attest to that. So there was this other guy. He was actually like an older guy. I think he was French. Like he was French, and he was this guru guy, and he invented a kind of like a spiritual game where you could, it was actually quite cool, where you like, it was a group dynamic thing, and it was also like a trigger, how to kind of call out your triggers. So if somebody does something, it triggers you, then you speak out so you can release your triggers. That's the best way I can put it. And it was like a really full-on game, he called it, some kind of game. And then we played that game together, and I actually really liked the game. Like, I thought the methodology of actually purifying spiritually, like really getting unbothered, getting unbothered and trigger free, it was a good way to do that, and I was impressed. So I facilitated one workshop like with him, for him, also with my people, with friends, and actually also family. And then I decided to also attend another, like it was on New Year's Eve, I think 2 years ago or something. And then it turned into a shit show. It really turned into a shit show. It was, this guy had one of his girlfriends, like he was a vagabond. Yeah, that's what I like realized that day. So he invited some of his friends, also older friends. There was like this older woman from France as well, like a friend of him. And then there was this young girl. She was probably younger than me, and this guy is probably in his 50s or something. And she kind of got mad because I think that day she found out that he had a baby with someone else, and that he actually cheated on her or something like that. And this is what I opted out. Like, I was told, like, that was my trigger. I totally opted out because I was like, no, I can't, I'm not trusting this man. And this is what I've seen many times, and I've heard about it, and I've felt it, that men who are, and this is also what EU talks about, so shout out again, that men will deliberately put themselves in powerful positions, whether it be in the, let's say, regular economy, becoming some kind of CEO, CFO, having a team lead position or director's position or whatever. And also in the spiritual space, where people are really literally exploiting. I mean, that's the whole world. But again, for me, every time where I got the epiphany, it was a shock. So actually, men using their position to exploit other vulnerable women. And this is what I've seen in the spiritual space, especially with this guy. Like, I saw live what was going on. So he had this other girl pregnant somewhere. He was this traveling spiritual guru going to these spiritual festivals. Like, I've never been onto like a festival like that, and I think I'm not interested. But that's the kind of guy that he was. Like, he didn't look nice at all. Like, he didn't look powerful. He probably had no money whatsoever, but he had so-called spiritual insight or wisdom, and this is what made these women attracted to him. So bad, so bad. So he exploited this little girl, and then she got mad, and she kind of blew up the lid, and she talked about it at the at this game. Like she talked about the game, she got mad, and then something happened, which like totally like that was it for me. When the guy he tried to silence her and gaslight her, and he tried to be like, okay, no, we're going to continue to play the game, and I am not going to take any responsibility. Oh my God, this was like the gaslighting moment of the year of my life or whatever, I don't know. But he definitely used him being the initiator of the game. He kind like he didn't want to like he didn't want to be held accountable at all. So he just said, I'm not gonna take this. Like that's your shit. This was also part of the game where you every time you got triggered by someone else, it was about you owning your own trigger and not blaming somebody else for triggering you. And then he tried to play that game in the situation where he was like, okay, that's not my stuff. You are being triggered, and I'm over here being like totally free. And but probably he lied to her that she was his only one or whatever. So I just want to say that I just want to say that there are men in all places, whether it be in the, as I said, the regular world or in the spiritual world, and especially in the spiritual world. This is so shady to me. Oh, so shady to me. Yeah, so that's also that's a story time of being on the other side, seeing what is actually going on. Like I wasn't involved in these stories. It's just guys talking to me, guys trying to yeah, just also telling me like how good I am. There's another story. I think I tried to make this video into more, but it's unnecessary because I also wrote it down. Guys, kind of knowing, like not always because I got played too, like don't get it twisted, but most of the time like guys kind of know that you can't really play with me. So at my job, at my last job, I was in sales, like a very high performing sales job. And this was literally the a Shark Tank. Yeah. So again, same kind of story. I got approached by so many men. It was like when I think back, sometimes in the little lunch break, sometimes stay sitting at my desk, and then men came like from all over the office just to stand around me and talk to me and like flirt with me. Men took me out for dinner, or not for dinner, for lunch. And today I know like men just want to be seen with somebody like me, like us, like a pretty girl. And yeah, I took it to my advantage. So I got a free lunch and that was fine. But also there at my job, again, talking about spiritual men. So as I said, that one guy was Ghanaian. He was Dominican. He's also very spiritual, like he's a Christian. Then this other guy, he was like he was a spiritual student. The other guy was like the spiritual guru. Yeah. And then the other guy that I'm going to talk about now from my work, there were many men try to talk to me, but no, I wasn't really having it. And it was crazy for me. Actually, I was afraid, to be honest. Like I wasn't fully in my power. Yet I was kind of afraid because I knew it felt it this was like it was like a pressure cooker of masculine energy. It was men in sales. If you know sales, you probably know how they are. Men in sales, I think, are at the top of cheating men, and that's no surprise. Like I have been in sales for a while, and I think everybody knows that or should know that. So all these men were like so filled with testosterone, and they were just on a hunt. Like sales is really like being on a hunt. I found out that many girls in like there were not too many because it was a very male dominated field, and in sales in general there were not too many women. It was a really high pressure environment. And that's also why I left. So some women got, for me I really see like they got hit, or I don't know if that's the right expression, but they kind of got, just when a lion like comes and kills the prey, I feel like this is what happened to the other girls. there were married women who cheated on their husbands with one of like with the colleagues. There were like sweet women who also got like caught by some of the like really most savage men there. And then there was this one guy who was always so sweet. He was a Muslim, like he was a practicing proud Muslim. I don't know, like he looked like that. I think I don't know if he talked about it or something, but he literally looked like a uh he looked, I'm gonna call him back. He looked like a practicing Muslim, like he had this long beard. And we also started talking, and actually we also talked about spirituality, and we talked about manifestation and some spiritual stuff. So I thought, okay, that's our base, right? I knew he was married. He was married to a woman like wearing a hijab, and he had a child. And then later on, like I really like sometimes, and this is also a habit or a pattern of me where I don't really like, I don't even see that somebody likes me, because if you're not really upfront, I don't I don't take it serious. And I actually thought, okay, we can talk about something else. But now I really know most men, they try to hit it, they will, that's what they want. So then later on, like for me, I never thought about anything. I knew he was married, like I didn't like him like that. He was just nice, and we had some good conversations at work. And then later on, he told me that he can't talk to me anymore because his wife found our chat. And it was like, it was nothing going on there in the chat. It was just like, hey, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm trying to leave this job or something like that. Or what are you doing in the break? Like he was actually one of the guys who also invited me for lunch. And she saw that. So, and then he told me that his wife saw that and that he has to stop talking to me. And I was like, okay, if like I don't mind, but okay, is that serious? Okay, I didn't know. So I'm saying all of that to say that there were all like I always saw these spiritual men um trying to chase what they didn't choose for in their home, like they wanted something else, or like the spiritual guys who try to exploit the vulnerable woman seeking for spiritual empowerment or whatever they are seeking, and then just ruthlessly exploiting them. Oh Lord, this is something that I've seen so many times. And there's another story I want to share, is that there was like this guy, this was actually one time when I was a coach, like I was a like a job mentor as well, like job coaching, helping people to get back into the workforce. So I was this job coach, and I was just in my very like maybe more of the concentrated masculine energy, a little bit like now, maybe like today I'm not so playful and jolly. I'm just relaxing. And but also that, like I think also for us women, sometimes we're not really aware, like that's definitely the case for me. We are not really aware of our energy and how like what we're sending out. But that's who I am as well. Like this, like this guy, he was also, I think he was from Iran or something. Like he was like an Oriental guy. And then like I was trying to speak to him, like would you like, and what is really your like what's your desire? I've asked people things like that, but in terms of your job, right? And then he later on told me that he has like these fantasies, and this is like one of his biggest fantasy that he wants to play out. And then he showed me this picture of like it was like a comic or something where where different women were like dominating men in like in a it was like a scene where outside where women were wearing these dominatrix clothes. And like he wanted to be dominated, like that's literally what he wanted. And then he asked me if I could do that. And one time, and I said like, no, that's not really my thing, and I could keep my composure. And then he one time I went to the bathroom, like he had to stay in the room, of course, because he was actually there to find a job, right? So he had to stay in the room. And then when I came back into the room, the guy, he was on his knees. He was on his knees he was on his knees, and then he asked me really um like a slave, because that's what he wanted. Like, he wanted me to enslave him. So he asked me if he was allowed to kiss my feet. And I remember what I was actually wearing. I was wearing like this black suit, and I was wearing these loafers, like the nice ones. I don't know how you call them, with the shiny material, like they were like shiny, and then the suede, the half shoes, like the loafers. This is what I was wearing, so it was kind of bossy. So, and then he asked me if he could kiss my feet, and I said yes, of course. So of course you can kiss my feet, but nothing else. And then later on, he offered me if that he would like to come to my house, and that he would clean my, like he would do everything I wanted in the house. Like, he would clean my house, he would clean my windows, while him being naked, and me like talking down on him. That's what he wanted. Guys, what's up? What's up? So that's that's another thing. That's another story. That's why I'm also like totally decentering men, because I have had I don't know if I want to call it a privilege, but I've had the opportunity to look behind the curtains. And the last one, since I'm already talking about many things, the last one, oh no, it's actually not the last one. So there's another one where there was also this other guy. He was a Nigerian, and he was like this church guy. Like, he's the typical church guy. Like, he is in church and he promotes the church. Like, he's always posting pictures of the next event at church, and he's going to church like 5 times a week or so, like to the all night, and to the prayer, and to the event, and then to this pastor coming here and there. Like, it was this kind of guy. And I was doing, at one point I was doing network marketing, and I still promote it. Like, it's like this financial empowerment thing where you learn how to invest into crypto and some insider information. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. That's something that I still do. But like, at one point I was actively promoting it. So I talked to this guy, and I wanted to talk to him about that business opportunity. And then we met. And then also, like, oh, and this is also something that I feel like not many women are talking about, especially, or at least I haven't heard too many women in network marketing openly talk about it. Maybe they do now, or maybe they do it behind closed doors. But I think I would have wished this knowledge that I'm sharing with you ladies, is that something that I would have loved to receive more early. Yeah, that as a woman, if you are on your way to success, one of the biggest distractions is men. You know, if you want to have a conversation about business, many men, if you're a pretty woman, or probably almost any woman, men will try to hit on you. Like, they will try to flirt, or they will try to like make it into a completely different conversation. And this also happened with this Nigerian guy. So then he told me that I was pretty, and that he wanted to see me again. And I was like, okay, if you want to become my client or my partner, we can do that, but otherwise, no. and and then one time, he had my number, and then he also said something very inappropriate, where I knew, like, he had a wife and he had kids, and he was this guy in church. And then he also said something like that like he wants to be with me or something like that. I don't remember. I think it was even more like sultry and sexual, but I was like, oh my God, dude. And this is where I also like realized again and again, like, I am always at the other side. Like, that's what I'm going to call this video. Like, it's the other side. Yeah, it's the other side, where you, as a beautiful woman who's free, who's carefree, who, for those guys, maybe because they can only think in two boxes, you're either the wife, the good girl, or you're the bad girl, and you're some kind of slut. But no, I'm just carefree. I'm just living my life, and I'm focusing on myself and on my level up. It has nothing to do with being a slut. But this is actually what I experienced. And I actually didn't plan to talk about that. All of these guys were kind of spiritual, but that's it, or just being in powerful, like not so powerful positions, but being in positions where they think that they have something over you, like knowledge or something that you might want. No, please, ladies, don't do it. And the last thing I think I want to share is that actually, and why I am so like totally decentering men and a little cold and more, in German we say abgebrüht, like it's like you're just done. Not bitter on anything, but like it's illusion. The illusion is gone. It's there is like I don't believe in the airy fairy tale anymore, and I don't really believe in um that men are those creatures that Disney or R&B songs and things like that portray. No, because one of my best friends, she worked in a whorehouse when we were like in our early mid 20s, and she was like, she is, for me, she is a spirit. She's a spirit, like she's a spiritual woman. She is the embodiment of, I don't know what spirit, Kumbajira or something like that. These women who are so like disenchanted by life. I think I love these women most. She was like, okay, I'm going to work there. She wasn't a whore. She wasn't a prostitute. She worked there kind of like a room service girl. So, so we had access to this place up until to this day. I still know the owner, like the pimp, and she worked there full time, and she told me a lot of stories. But also sometimes I went because sometimes they needed more staff, especially when there was a fair, like I think like an expo, like an exposition, like some kind of business exposition. And then all the men would come. And like she told me so many things. Also, the girls, the prostitutes told her, the sex workers, where we just realized like how pathetic are, because it was a upscale uh, bordel. It was a more high-end bordel. It was expensive, and the girls were also like more nice looking, whatever you want to call it. So of course it costs money, and the guys there, like sometimes they drank champagne and drinks for the girls, and that's all the extras that the girls can get. So they make the man drink and buy a bottle, and all of that is extra money. So yeah, just by being able, having the privilege, or whatever I want to call it, having the privilege, having the exposure to this kind of life has actually always given me the insight from, yeah, from the other side. Like not knowing, not thinking, oh man, ooh, ooh, ooh. No, I actually kind of knew what the dark side of men are. And that's what you can see in a bordel. And just knowing their fantasies and disgusting things. I'm going to be very blunt, so I think I'm not going to hold anything back here on this channel. But it was really like men wanting to shit on girls, all this kind of stuff. Maybe I don't want to talk about it too much, but all this kind of stuff. So, and especially very successful men. This is also what I've had the privilege of finding out quite early. I don't know if it's quite early, but in my mid 20s, that like most of the very successful men, like bankers and businessmen, those were the men attending these clubs. And then also they had the wildest fantasies. Yeah, but also sometimes, and that's also true, what people say about the feminine energy, that some men actually just wanted to talk to the girls, like they just wanted to be around a girl, that she caresses him and all of that, but they actually didn't even want to sleep with her, but he just wanted to be with her. But sometimes some men had like some wild fantasies, disgusting. So yeah, that's being on the other side, being the bad girl, quote unquote, being me, like being curious. I've always been curious. I've always been free. Like, and that's what I want to, that's what I promote on here. Being a sovereign woman, being a woman that has her own life. that has her own dreams, her own talents, her own skills, her own voice, her own money, especially her own money, something going for herself, and not, as I said, like we're not centering anything else around here. Like you're your own center. I'm on my own center. We are on our own pedestal. You are your own goddess. Okay. So I just told you all these stories just to kind of make a point and just share my personal experience. There's probably more, but these were some of the stories really that I realized, okay, like this help, like this is what I've seen all through my life, that men try to exploit women. Oh, there's another story. I know this video is getting long, but I think I want to get it out, and probably I will do another one. Probably I will do another one. And another story I want to share is also like I have also dated because like there, I don't know, I'm actually not really into it, but I'm getting into the social media streets. But yeah, there are women talking about dating white men and blah 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 and athletes and things like that. And I think I have dated all of these kind of favorite guys or whatever you want to call it, millionaires. I've actually dated men in the music industry, or a guy in the music industry, a musician, a like somebody also on TV, a millionaire, white guys, like older white guys. I think I also shared the story that the first time that I actually realized how I could use my privilege when I found my first job after my international business degree, where I just knew this guy and I think he liked me. I never responded to that, but he got me a job, like a high paying corporate job. So that was perfect. And but I dated all kinds of men, and also like just quite recently, I also had men fly me out. Yeah, so men fly me out to different countries. And then the most recent one is that a work colleague, as I just shared, like at this job, this sales job, there were so many men over me, but never, like I am a little bit ignorant, I think, a little bit when it comes to men, because most of the men, they don't really dare to approach me like full on. So this guy, he also quit the job. I also quit the job. And then he wanted to see me again. And again, I was naive. I actually thought we talked about business. So he told me that he was getting into this new business and that he would actually like to work with me. And I was like, yeah, perfect. So then after that, he constantly asked me if I wanted to come to Greece. And I said, yeah, why not? Like if you invite me, I'm coming. And then he did. Like, so one day he just like he booked me a ticket. I flew to Athens and we had a good time. Like not no sex, just having a good time. No, actually, we didn't have a good time. We didn't have a good time. I actually thought really that we were going to talk about business and then, of course, enjoy the time together. And when I say enjoy, I don't mean sex. Yeah. So but that's not what happened. Like he tried to hit on me, like especially the time when it came to like where am I going to sleep. And then I was actually afraid, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I have done some things that were outright crazy and really dangerous. So I did those things. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm sharing that here, but I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't recommend it. So like he kind of tried to hit on me, so nothing happened. We actually had a good time. Like he could behave, and like I did some sightseeing. Yeah, I went to the museum, I went to the Palace Athena, I went to the Colosseum there, or what's it called, like the Olymp, or I don't know what it, I think Palace Athena, I don't know exactly, but where all the statues are and all of the old Greek, yeah, statues and artwork. That was nice. And yeah, just seeing the city, that was very cool. I really enjoyed it. And then on our way back, because I didn't give him what he expected for the invite, he tried to say things like, oh, now you have to invite me. Like I now have to pay for the food. I didn't do it. But then when I was back in Germany, I also told him, I think, no, like we're not a good fit, because he also talked about still being with his girlfriend who was older. He was older, like he was in his 50s, and she was probably also in her 50s. And then he told me, just very blunt, and that's why I say, like, I want to back those stories up with real stories, everything that people are talking about here on the internet, that older men, they will build themselves up, and then when they think they're in a position where they can't find somebody new, like a younger woman, a more beautiful woman, they will. And that's exactly what he did. So he had this girlfriend, and I think she probably helped him too when he was in Germany, and because he was like a German Greek. And so he was my colleague in Germany, but then he moved back to Greece and now he works there. So that's why he invited me there. So but he had this older girlfriend, and I think he still didn't fully break up with her. And then he expected me to start something with him, occur, where, and I said, like, huh, that's actually not nice. And then afterwards he was kind of mad because he didn't get the P. And then he was trying to take something back. And this is where I also realized that men, they are not even like, they don't really want to court you. Like, he invited me, yeah, that's cool, I like that. But then afterwards, he was trying to siphon back the energy, like he wanted the money back. So he just recently, I think a few weeks ago, he also texted me again that he was back in Germany, and I was like, okay, good. Like, I don't want to see you again. And then he said, like, you still owe me, like you still owe me a dinner or something like that. And I was like, I didn't even respond. And then he was like, no, I'm joking. No, you're not. You actually want your money back. And yeah, so these are a few of the stories that I wanted to share with you today. That's why I am decentering men completely, and why I believe that decentering men is good for your mental health, because I don't believe in learning all the tactics. I don't believe in learning all the manipulation games, because it's exhausting. Like, I don't, also, like you said, like, I don't really want to use all my energy, because I love my mind, I love my intelligence, I love my capacity, and I definitely don't want to waste my intelligence on learning how to plot on somebody, how to manipulate somebody. And then at the end of the day, the person is probably still disgusting and still once or twice wants to touch me. And I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be with you. No. So these are some of the stories these are just a few stories that I have personally experienced. And this is what I also believe that qualifies me to be a goddess coach. Yeah, because it's all about personal transformation. It's all about personal upgrade. It's personal pedestalization. I believe in women empowerment. I believe in women putting themselves on the pedestal. I believe in women centering themselves around themselves, really centering the divine feminine within you, because the feminine, like the spirituality of a woman, is a completely different spirituality of the male-centered spiritualities. Yeah, the women's spirituality is really about living life to the fullest, being in touch with the elements, being in touch with your body, with your sexuality, and really living life in this body, because you are a human goddess. Okay, so that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I would really, really love to kick this conversation off. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know if you have similar experiences with spiritual men from all colors. And I literally gave you a full plethora of variety, like from a Greek guy to a French guy to I don't know what he was, I think maybe a Moroccan or something, then this Dominican guy, this Ghanaian guy. I mean, hello, this is culturally diverse. Okay, so it's all kinds of men playing with their power, whatever it is. Nigerian guy as well. So yeah, that's my life. And that's why I decenter men, because I don't respect most of the men. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. I would love to hear from you. How did you like that? Do you like the story time? And again, let me know what your experiences have been. And I really want to establish a culture of where we are really, and I don't mean in a play like I'm playing that, but where we are really unbothered by the gimmicks. No, you can't fool me. Okay? So that's it. Until then, take care of yourself, and bye.